All right, it's officially 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Bond, if you could lead us in the pledge.
Of course. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next business item is the call to order. I'm going to call the roll. Member Souther,
Present.
Luck, absent at this time. White,
Present.
Johnson,
Present.
Egan,
Present.
Council Liaison Megan Ebert,
Present.
and I'm your staff liaison, Tyler Shaw. We do have a quorum of the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board meeting, which moves us into item A3, public comment. I don't have anyone registered for public comment at the moment, but we do have a special guest in the audience if we wanted to. Yeah.
I just wanted to thank Corey Bond. He has been the chair of the Ward 4 NAB for many years. He has unfortunately turned out, but I just wanted to take a minute to just acknowledge Corey and just say thank you so much for your time and dedication to our ward and to this board. So thank you very much. Just wanted to do this. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. And we do have some cookies and some water up here for everybody to just enjoy after the meeting. And you know, if you want to talk to Corey and learn more about our ward, he's a great guy with a lot of information. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. This is very nice. I appreciate it. Someone asked me tonight, said, "Oh, you're on this side now." And I said, "Yes." But I said, I will respectfully be here every month to heckle you guys. You can't get rid of me that quickly, but thank you very much, everybody.
Let the record reflect member Luck is present via Zoom. Okay, I don't have anyone who's registered to give public comment. Is there anyone in the room who'd like to give public comment during our first public comment period? Seeing none, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to give public comment during our opening period? If you'd like to give public comment via Zoom, please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. There will be opportunities for public comment on the items throughout the agenda, as well as an opportunity for public comment at the end of the meeting. And we're actually going to move down to B1, selection of a chair and vice chair, so that we have an officer to run this meeting. If there's any members who'd like to make a nomination for chair, please feel free to do so.
Kathleen Egan, I would like to nominate Jared Salad.
Sorry?
For chair.
Is there a second?
Second. John White seconds.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Jared, you are the chair of the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board. Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but oh, excuse me, Corey Bond for the record.
Mr. Chair, we now need to elect the vice chair for the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board.
Okay.
Are there any members who'd like to make a nomination?
Well, I would like to nomination, Jared Souther for the record, like to nominate Kathleen Egan as co-chair.
Perfect. All in favor?
Or is it second?
Or second? You got me, see? You're doing great.
Second,
Second.
Kathleen Egan. Good.
Can someone else second? I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you.
I can vote for myself.
Now, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Kathleen, you are the new vice chair of the Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board. Congratulations.
Thank
Okay. Mr. Chair, I think it'd be appropriate to move back to item A4, approval of the agenda.
Yes, please. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of the agenda. Ready for.
Kathleen Egan, motion to approve.
John White second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? I don't think there is.
Motion
All
carried.
right, and then looking forward to it, agenda item A5, approval of the minutes from September 21st, October 19th, and November 16th of 2023. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of those minutes.
I'll second the motion.
No, all
The
of
motion.
them, my approval.
And
Excellent.
then I second. Okay.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Great, perfect. That passes. And then the next agenda item is A6, council liaison report. Bring the time over to Ms. Megan.
Okay, Councilmember Hebert, for the record, we did have a city council meeting yesterday. It was our first return to council after our break for the holidays. We did accept a grant at the city for $500,000 to put trees into the city over at the airport, which is great, to help with the tree canopy in the city and help things like climate change. The city of Reno is actually experiencing some of the fastest temperature rise in the country. So things like that are very helpful, and $500,000 is a huge amount of money to receive towards trees. So that's a huge win for the city of Reno. So they will be going in along the airport in Ward 3. But it's a big win for the city of Reno. Yeah, other news, Jared Souther and John White were reappointed to the Ward 4 NAB yesterday. Congratulations. And we're just kind of getting back into the swing of things. We had some business licenses that were approved, and a renaming of a historic street, and just some ordinance adoptions regarding street mending, but nothing very Ward 4 specific at yesterday's meeting. That's it.
Thank you. Next agenda item is A7, staff liaison report. Tyler?
Good evening, everyone. Tyler Shaw, Community Liaison with the City of Reno, for the record. My staff liaison report is very short this evening. The next Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board meeting is on February 15th at 6 p.m. and it will be located here in the North Valleys Library. So mark your calendars, and we hope to see as many new faces at that meeting as we do at this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Moving forward to agenda item B2 for the Reno Police Department quarterly reports. Officer.
Stephen, Lieutenant Alfred, Reno Police Department. Went over some of the stats for the last month. There were no specific trends identified, save one, but I'll go over a few things. Commercial burglaries, one of the things that we see very often is high dollar loss. However, there's no associated serial numbers. So a lot of the stuff that we saw was like construction site burglary with high dollar equipment items. If you're going to have high value items, it's not a bad idea, be it in your home, in your vehicle, at your work site, et cetera, to have some kind of documentation of serial numbers, because that's the only way that we can often track or prove that the item is in fact the stolen item in question. So that's one of the things that will help quite a bit. But as far as specific themes in your ward, there were none. The destructible properties, it was almost entirely online reports. The unfortunate problem with that, and we can't expect you to know what you don't know, but a lot of times people will write reports with almost zero information in them. My fence was broken. End of report. So a lot of the times the who, what, when, where, why, how, whatever information you may have. Hey, my neighbor has a Ring camera across the street that might have caught something, anything. So that when we look at it, if there's anything that's, able to be followed up on, that's available to us. But again, no specific themes with the destruction of properties. Residential burglaries, again, there's some good common themes. Unfortunately, they just happen sporadically. One of the things that did jump out to me when I was reviewing some of the reports from this last month was there was, and this happens very often, so this is not unique, but there was one where there was a residential burglary in progress. So they called a family member that was out of state to tell them what was going on rather than calling us. That just causes a delay. So if there is anything that we could have done, it just postpones our ability to get there in a timely fashion and hopefully catch them in the act. So I would just, spread to anybody that's talking to y'all, something like that is going on, call dispatch first. You can call family later. And again, on the residential burglaries, because they tend to steal things, back to the serial numbers, right? I've got a rather extensive firearms collection myself, and I've got a spreadsheet at home on my computer with the serial number of every single firearm that I own. So God forbid something happened, it's something that can be followed up on. You'd be amazed at the amount of high dollar value items that people just have no idea. Stolen vehicles, there is somewhat of a trend, but it's every winter and it's citywide. Don't just leave your car unattended warming up. In a perfect world, we'd be able to do that because I don't like going out to a cold car either. However, people come out and steal cars when they're warming up constantly because it's an easy target. Car is warming up, they'll go from A to Z, leave it, we recover it later, but in the meantime, you've got to deal with your car being stolen. Or even if it wasn't running, there's quite a few times where people will just leave their keys in their car. Again, crime of opportunity, people see that, and now you've got to deal with your car being stolen. That kind of goes right along with theft from vehicle and vehicle burglaries. Don't leave high dollar items in plain sight, because again, it's just a window of opportunity. You see a laptop, a purse, etc., just laying on the seat. It's just an easy smash and grab, and they're gone. And a lot of the times, there's not a whole lot of information that we're able to follow up on that, and it's unfortunate, and you wind up just being out. So we ought to be able to leave things in our cars, and if you do, I would just say don't leave them like right out in open view. Trunks, put something over it, tuck them under the seat, something like that. That does lead me to the one series that I did identify, though. There was a bit of a string around the 2780 and 2000 block of Enterprise. At the top of Enterprise by the university, there was a rash of burglaries there. Enough so that you could probably venture to guess that there's a commonality with the suspect. There is a community action officer program that we have that deals with specific areas. They'll have the city split into various districts, and those officers work with places like apartment complexes to see ongoing trends, that they can work with management to work on SEPTEDs, crime prevention through environmental design, better lighting, better cameras, etc. So unfortunately, I got that information after those officers were gone, but I will get back in touch with them in this next week to kind of put that on their radar for some follow-up. And then as far as crimes against persons, unfortunately, a whole lot of that is mutual, and there were several incidents of road rage. I know it's very irritating, but a lot of the time it's mutually antagonistic. So my only advice would be the proverbial bigger man or walk away, because it almost always escalates to something bad when somebody at some point had the ability to just cease contact. That's not always the case, but that is something that we see very often. So I got three crime stats, unless y'all have anything for me.
Thank you very much. Is there anything from the board that would like to ask?
Yeah, Ben Johnson for the record. How's your guys' staffing?
Not great. I couldn't give you exact numbers, but we are down quite a bit. And those hiring decisions and staffing levels are obviously kind of done at higher levels of admin. So I can't speak to specific numbers. However, there is logistical issues between the cost to hire and train new officers that would not only have to accommodate for attrition through retirements, but also for the expansion of the city. We are low, but again, I can't necessarily speak to what percentage we would need to hire to come up to a national average.
Is it the same? Has it been like the same average this for the last like few years? Is it worse? Is it better?
I would say it's trending in the right direction. We've seen more hiring as of very recently, to include a fairly, I would say, significant amount of lateral officers from other agencies, which helps in addition to, new hires, those laterals bolster our numbers. And we've definitely seen an increase in hires, I would say, in the last year.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the board? For myself, I'm Jared Souther. Just speaking of crimes against persons, in the Silver Shore neighborhood, there was a SWAT incident that took place in the last 30 days where they had to defeat flashbang. I know that the media did a well job of spreading, peace, sort of hunker into your neighborhood, but is there more you can to cell phones or other apps? I see like in Truckee, Truckee, they use different apps to notify when there's a fire or when there's an incident.
So, I believe so. Take this with a grain of salt because full disclosure, I've been a lieutenant for about 5 minutes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Recently promoted that position and specifically to your point, I've been on SWAT for 14 years. Came up as a SWAT cop, then a sergeant, and now I'm the SWAT commander. So I can say that from the SWAT perspective, my guys are kind of busy with the problem at hand. However, my understanding is that they're kind of pushing the WAP commanders, which will be me now, to be more active on, say, Twitter. So we could probably push those out there. I've not been given keys to the Twitter account yet, so to speak. But I think that on scene, the watch commander could probably do that. We're pretty good on the SWAT side of the house about doing notifications in the immediate area. We're not usually very surreptitious in our presence. It's pretty obvious that we're there and we're using loudspeakers, et cetera. So people in the immediate vicinity can usually get the gist of what's going on. However, I totally understand your concern. If those that are just outside of that maybe don't know, and then they hear a breach or an FDD, which is a flash bang, then that would be cause for concern. So I would imagine that will probably be the most expedient method to push that information out, and I'll bring that up.
Yeah. When we look at like silver alerts or amber alerts and how that's used, sort of what I would call geofencing or putting in a certain zip code or whatever, I look at that as an opportunity as well. Can we use that same technology to report of an incident that would require people to be more cautious? I've seen another situation in the last 6 months where they closed at Red Rock and Silver Lake and said they were looking for someone in this area and please avoid the area when you're trying to drive home. It's just nice to know that if you're at home and you're not watching news, that hey,
Get a push notification of some kind.
yes,
I can look into that for sure.
yeah, thank you. All right, anyone in the public would like to also ask a question of this good lieutenant? Seeing none, thank you very much for your time. I
I did say
appreciate
good looking lieutenant.
it. Yes.
Before you leave, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to give public comment on this item? If you'd like to give public comment on Zoom, please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom window. No chat.
Okay, thanks.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Hmm.
All right, then moving on to the next item, we have the opportunity at D3 to hear about accessory dwelling units, ADUs, and short-term rentals.
Yes, I'll leave those. Where should I stand?
If you want to come stand up here.
Okay.
There's a laser pointer up there. It's like,
I'm so far away back here. My kids really project.
You can walk
Um,
around, Grace, you don't have to do the.
I'll come around over here. So hi, everyone. My name is Grace Mackinnon. I am a senior management analyst with Development Services, specifically in planning for the city of Reno. We have recently published a survey regarding accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, as we call them, and then short-term rentals, or STRs. ADUs are what you would commonly call like a granny flat or a guest quarters, something that you would have attached or detached to your single family house that may be a mother-in-law or family student lives in, kind of accessory to your house. A short-term rental, commonly Airbnb, VRBOs, I think everyone's familiar with those. So something that maybe isn't somebody's primary residence, but somebody rents out to them, rents out to other people for short-term purposes. And so this survey is, our intent is to get feedback. And back in November, council initiated an ordinance for accessory dwelling units. If you don't know, accessory dwelling units have kind of an interesting history with the city. They've kind of come up every once in a while and they become very, very contentious with certain neighborhoods or people that maybe there's some misinformation out there of people thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to get 100 accessory dwelling units on my street and it's just going to make parking terrible and the traffic's going to be terrible. And that, you know, that's not necessarily the case, especially with other communities that have implemented accessory dwelling units. That's definitely not what they're seeing. It's still expensive to build, and not everybody on your street is going to build an ADU if they were to become legal. So currently they're not permitted in most areas of the city. And then for short-term rentals, we currently don't regulate those at all. So if you wanted to, you know, worst case scenario, if you wanted to buy up a street and make everything an Airbnb, you could do that. And I think that, you know, we can all agree that definitely would change the character of a neighborhood. And I think for accessory dwelling units, one thing I do think is a pro, and I don't want to bias you at all before you take the survey, but it's a good way to increase density in a neighborhood without changing the character. So as opposed to somebody buying a block and building a, 40-story, however many unit apartment complex, that really is like, a big change. It's a slow kind of incremental change to an area where you might not even notice that they have their garage converted into an accessory dwelling unit and they have their kid living in there while they're going to college because rents are so tough to come by these days. Or they have it in their basement or in their backyard. It's not going to necessarily be that sore thumb for the most part. What they've seen in California, who has done some major strides for accessory dwelling units, is most people, and other states that have implemented this as well, most people actually don't rent out their accessory dwelling units, which is a shame because it's not helping the housing crisis, but they just have it as extra space. So if their parents come to visit, they can utilize that ADU, or they use it for families, so students or aging parents, caretakers, and they can stay in that ADU. So kind of long-winded, but we'd love to get your feedback on this survey. It's been open for about 2 weeks. And I don't want to target you guys, but the North Valleys has been the lowest response rate so far. So see, it's a competition and you want to really be up on the map and make sure that your voice is heard. It's super exciting though. Right when I left today, we had almost 900 responses to the survey, which is like the most public feedback more than we usually get. I mean, we've done multiple text amendments, code updates, and we do all of these meetings. We go into the community, go to schools and, libraries, and at most we get 10 people at these meetings. And then we come to all the NAPs, of course, as well. So 900 responses is huge for us. And it actually, I think, is representative for these people that maybe can't come to council meetings or planning commission meetings. They're working, they're busy. This is a quick 9-question survey that shouldn't take you longer than 5 minutes. So I put some sheets or pamphlets up at the top by the cookies. There's some in Spanish and in English as well. And there's a QR code you can scan with your phone, or you can type the link in. And if you have trouble with that, let the liaisons know and I can send you a link. So you can just click that and take the survey. But yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Does it give you more information if you go onto there, like, how's it gonna like dramatically raise your property taxes? Like, do you have to get permits and yada,
Right.
yada, yada? Does it have all that kind of information?
So we did try to keep it fairly broad just because we don't have anything written yet. So we don't know really what the impacts will be. We do define each thing before you answer that question. As far as property taxes, so let me answer this first. You would have to get building permits to build anything on your property. And then the tax would be affected through the Washoe County assessor. And so I don't know exactly what that impact would look like, but that's the same if you do any type of addition, whether it's bedroom or a full accessory dwelling unit. Those do have impacts, and you would apply for that building permit and see what those specific impacts would be based on that specific project.
I really appreciate this presentation and thank you for asking opportunity for us to ask questions, and I appreciate your question. Can you just remind us your name for the
Oh,
record?
sorry, Becky Flannery.
Thank you so much. And then before I move further, anyone from the board that have a question?
Kathleen Egan. So thank you. I did the survey before I got the email. City sent out the email, but when I saw the agenda item, I just went to the city site. I just Googled it and did it. And I think it took 2 minutes to take
Yeah.
the survey. And I just really appreciate it. I just find it, there are two contentious issues combined together, but you just did the survey to get that, and then the two will be decided totally separately.
Yeah.
So for the record, my business, I work in real estate. Short-term rentals are horrendous for homeowners and for tenants. They have caused so much problems. We need a stance from our city to regulate this, and other cities have done this. It is a horrible, horrible thing. Now, for the other one though, I actually grew up in accessory dwelling unit when I turned 18, and I lived in my parents' ADU. They kicked out the missionary girls that were renting it for a couple of years, and I got it while I was going through college. And I love the idea of having infill. We need more, we cannot rely on new construction. There's no way we're ever gonna get enough new construction to, and we don't want lots of new construction out here, do we?
No.
So the infill, the density for all these areas throughout the city, that is the best. That's why I love Midtown. I love, I just love that area and it's quaint, and as long as there's parking. So those were the comments that I put on the survey, is that the parking is the issue. And so depending on where that is, I would think that it would be going through the permit process, and the people that come out when they pull it and you have to get the permit, if there's not parking there, no parking, no street parking, then it wouldn't get approved. So I think that would take care of that concern. But this is just a wonderful, wonderful idea. And I'll probably live in one. I'll make my kids build one.
Really quick, to get back to your point, because I did want to say, if we were to implement or adopt an ordinance for either short-term rentals or ADUs, if you didn't do anything, it would not affect your property at all. So it's not something that if we adopted, it automatically affects you. It would only impact you if you decided to build one or you decided to rent it out. And I just wanted to clarify that. And then for the ADUs and short-term rentals, you're totally right. I think the more I've come to these NABs, it's like, oh, well, wait, my neighbor I thought already had one. And the only difference is now we allow for guest quarters, so they just can't have a kitchen. And so it's, a little bit kind of a nuance, but an ADU would allow a kitchen, which is a little bit more independent living, so.
John White, when I was on the county advisory board several years ago, we had a lot of these, usually you're generally calling mother-in-law units. They have a lot more space in the county and they are going on septic. So they're trying to make new construction over a garage or something like that. With the city, they already are trying to hit us up for more money because of the water systems are inadequate as it is. How are they expecting more people on a smaller lines for the sewer and water and all that stuff?
Yeah, so it definitely depends on the area. So if someone were to apply for this, they have to go through the appropriate channels to get will serve letters from Truckee Meadows Water, and then, sewer will serve, we have to make sure that's adequate. One point that's been made at a previous NAB that I think is a good one, especially in these older areas, the family's size has changed over the years. You used to have maybe some multi-generational housing or larger families living in these infill areas. And now you have maybe 2 people living in a 4 or 5 bedroom house. So the infrastructure is adequate in a lot of these areas. When you're building new infrastructure, that's kind of where you get a little bit more pull on our resources, because and that's also the benefit of infill, because you're using already existing infrastructure. So I think there's pros and cons to that, but they would have to go through the appropriate channels to make sure that all of those resources are there, just like any other construction.
Thank you very much. I see a question here on Zoom. Victoria?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I just have a question in regards to housing development areas that do have HOAs. Do the HOA associations, do they get their own say on if they want this? Say it goes through and we have a city ordinance. Will there be requirements for them to accommodate that for those that live in those areas?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because this came up the last time we tried to pass an ordinance for ADUs in 2018. There's certain areas, Somerset, Damani Ranch, or certain areas in Somerset, certain areas in Damani Ranch, an area in the southwest of Reno that already allow for ADUs. And there's certain areas that explicitly prohibit ADUs through either CCNRs or an HOA. This would not change that. So we would not be able to override any existing rules or ordinance or rules or something that's in place through private HOAs or CCNRs. We don't regulate those. And so we can't overrule them. Or at least that's our position as of now. So if your community explicitly prohibits them through an HOA, or if it explicitly allows them, just know that this is not going to threaten whatever you guys already have.
Excellent. Victoria, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any comments from the board? No? Okay, anyone else from public? Okay,
Great.
Is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to give public comment on this item? If you'd like to give public comment via Zoom, please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom window. And will I give you a second? Did you have a question, Ben?
I do not.
Well, please take the survey. Like I said, there's flyers at the front. And if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me. I'm happy to have a separate meeting if you have more questions or would like to go over anything further.
what is the deadline for the survey?
Thank you. It'll be open until the end of February.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We now have the opportunity to hear a presentation by Keep Trucking Meadows Beautiful, item 54.
There we go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Weber. I'm with KTMB, Keep Trucking Meadows Beautiful. I'll tell you a little bit about kind of what we do, how you can get involved, people in the North Valley, as well as our commissioners here. Has everybody heard of us? KTMB, Keep Trucking Meadows Beautiful? Yes. Yeah, so we're a local nonprofit 501c3. We've been around since 1989. So we have a long tradition and history of working in the community. Tonight, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our volunteer program as I help coordinate some of these volunteer cleanups, but we do also have a youth education program as well as an adult education program. We do our recycling guide. We have a green business program too. So when it comes to environmental issues in our area, we're on the forefront of that. Our program is pretty much, our cleanups program is funded by the Northern Nevada Public Health, also formerly known as Washoe County Health District. And then we have 3 major municipalities, Reno, Washoe County, and Sparks. And then we have a few federal agencies. We have the Sun Valley GID, as well as we work with the WCSO Sheriff's Office, as well as the Reno Sparks Indian Colony on some projects as well. So yeah, what is our cleanup program? It was started in 1994. It was kind of, you know, in the 90s, people were looking for ways to give back to their community through kind of ownership and kind of, you know, community pride. So we started it. It basically just gives people a means and opportunity to, you know, clean up their community, make it a better place to live, work, and play. Pretty simple.
Sorry, man.
That's right. Yeah, so here's a kind of a variety of reasons why people say they like to volunteer with us. And we know that volunteering is a personal, you know, decision, but this is kind of a smattering of some of the stuff that we usually encounter. One, they care about the Truckee Meadows, don't we all? They want to create a clean, beautiful, and safe region. They want to make a statement. A lot of church groups and fraternities, sororities, they'll send out a huge number of people to do at a park or at an area to do a cleanup just to make that impact, that statement. Healthier and safer environment for residents as well as wildlife, community pride and service, better place to do business. That's, you know, our community is growing so fast. You know, a lot of businesses, they look for the quality of life in the region when they consider moving their operations or hiring more people as well. Recognition by not only us, but our community partners. So the municipalities, as well as, you know, we have swag, we do a lot of volunteer appreciation. We want to make sure that our volunteers are welcome and we kind of help them out through some of our recognition. Community service credits, we work with TMCC, Promise Scholarship. They have to have 8 hours of community service every 6 months. So they help us out. You know, we get high school leadership, environmental groups. So they get credit for that. And then the last one, it's fun and rewarding. I tend to think it is. It's not for everyone, but I'm one of those people that I enjoy it myself. So the cool thing about the program is it really is all inclusive. Anyone and everyone can participate. This is kind of a list of some of the groups that we work with. My own particular one is families. I love to see families getting volunteering together. I didn't get into volunteering until I was in my 30s. I feel like I missed out on that opportunity. You know, the skills and the you know, learning new skills and learning, you know, meeting new people and, you know, just giving back to the community. So the earlier when we get people involved in that, the better, in my opinion. So where we clean, a lot of people ask, you know, we get a lot of complaints sometimes for stuff that's on private property. So our program is only public land. So that's parks, river sections, paths, the trail, business corridors, neighborhoods, anywhere where the public can freely gather. There's no issue of trespassing. So if there is any kind of issues with nuisances and, you know, quality of life issues, we direct them to Reno Direct or whatever the municipality 311 or the Sparks Community Service customer service line. So our volunteers only work in areas where they're allowed to public land. And we also work with our municipalities for, kind of their own needs. So, if there's a pile of mulch somewhere in a park, obviously we want to get a group out there to spread that. So we kind of work. The cool thing about this program is like, I'll be driving around and I'll see stuff. I kind of have the eye now. I can see stuff that needs to get done. And so I can kind of send groups just based on my own. And I'll get to it a little bit later about how you can help us out in that regard. So type of projects, a lot of people know us for picking up litter control, which is a huge portion of what we do. But we also do other things, like I mentioned, spreading mulch. We had our Christmas tree recycling, so we'll use that for weed abatement, weeding invasive weeds, noxious weeds as well. Trimming vegetation, there's a lot of paths and willows that need to be clipped. Dog waste removal is a problem as well. Graffiti as well. Sweeping courts and pathways. Planting is a big one. We plant a lot of trees and native brush and flowers as well, ornamental flowers. Painting restrooms and painting over graffiti as well too. And then, as I mentioned before, the last two ones, reporting vandalism and unsafe conditions, that's kind of where we ask the community to help us out with that. So if you see something that, you're kind of the eyes and the ears of our community. So if you see something that, maybe needs attention, give us a call. We can either get a volunteer group out there to do it, or we can, call the, jurisdiction, whoever has it, and they can take care of it. So that's kind of what we're trying to get, why I'm here is getting everybody involved and, so you can see something that needs to be done in our community and hopefully take action either yourself or just giving us a view of that would really help us out too. So it's a free program. It's all funded by the grant from the Northern Nevada Public Health. Everything is included. It's real turnkey. So all you pretty much need to do is just provide the volunteers. And I put enthusiastic volunteers there, and we'll take anyone really. So there's varying levels of enthusiasm. So we give you anything you need, all the resources, trash pickers. We have a huge, two huge Connex containers full of rakes and shovels, any kind of landscaping material that you need. Myself, staff support as well as disposal of any of the trash and weeds that you have. Pretty much all you gotta do is just show up and we'll do the rest. We do get busy in April and October. So like we can work with you as far as, how to coordinate things, but it's really turnkey. So here's our impact for 2023. So you can see that this is only for our group cleanups. The next slide has our community cleanups. So you can see 186 cleanups, 4794 volunteers. Volunteer hours, that's the number of volunteers multiplied by how many hours. So if 10 people worked 1 hour, that'd be 10 hours. So you can see 12,269. This $321,200, that's a value of volunteer hours. So what we did was we took the 12,269 volunteer hours and multiplied it by the 2618, which is actually, there's a think tank out of Washington, D.C. that calculates that based on a variety of statistics and analytics and poverty rate and all that. And so that's how we got that number. So you can see that from a financial standpoint, our program is making some major impacts. This is only for our group cleanups too. So 136,000 pounds of trash, 71,000 pounds of green waste. That's weeds, willows, pine needles, 45 sharps. Sharps have been on the rise. We've noticed that the Washoe County or the Northern Nevada Public Health wanted us to start documenting that. It has gone up. So 45 sharps, and then a little over 3,800 flowers, trees, and plants too. So I won't go through these numbers, but I want to let you know we have 2 large community-wide events. That's where pretty much the whole community can come together. It's all set up. Everything's ready for you. So the big one that we have is KTMU's Great Community Cleanup. That's usually last Saturday in April. Kind of coincides with Earth Month, and so you can see that's 1-day event. It's just all this impact. And then while we have KTMU's Truckee River Cleanup, it's usually last Saturday or second last Saturday in September when the water is low, and it's kind of more focused on the watershed. The Great Community Cleanup is kind of focused on just anywhere, and then our watershed for the fall cleanup as the water gets lower too. So, and then at the end of each of these events, we have a huge barbecue, and everybody's invited, all of our partners as well as volunteers too. So the next few slides are just pictures of some of the cleanups that we had recently. This was a fraternity at Paradise Park. Brino Phil was at Virginia Lake Park. They pulled a lot of weeds along the lakeside drive there. And then the RSCDA, the Visitor Stories at McKinley Arts and Culture Center. They're our Adopt a Spot program. They were the adopter of that. They've been for like 5 or 6 years now too, So here's our upcoming events. So the Christmas tree recycling program just ended, but it'll be, it's a recurring every year. So it'll be December 26th through early January. Like I mentioned, the community cleanup this year is gonna be April 27th. Bicentennial flower planting, we plant in Bicentennial Park downtown where the statues are. We plant about 5,000 ornamental flowers. It used to be a 2-day event, now it's just one. And then our river cleanup is gonna be September 21st. So yeah, so if there's one thing I could leave with you is if you were interested in doing a cleanup on public land, and you have like your business or school or anything that wants to do it, you can come see us and we'll do our best to accommodate you. And I left you some stuff on the table there, some swag as well as some cards. And then you can also go to our website, check us out and see what we have going on. So questions?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all the hard work you guys do. Board, anyone would like to make a comment or question about Keep Trucking Meadows Beautiful?
I do, Ben Johnson for the record. So if I wanted to get my company involved and we reach out, and would you guys have like a specific place in mind for us to clean up? My company's just in an industrial area, so there's not really much public land right where we are. But if there was like, we knew that the such and such park was, exceedingly dirty, could we reach out and be like, you tell us what park to clean up? We'll provide 200 employees to come out and clean it up.
Yeah, so the 3 things that I need is basically a date and a time, an approximate number of volunteers. And then if you had a geographic place where you wanted to work, a lot of people want to clean up where they live, work, or recreate.
Yeah.
But if you see something that needs attention, like one of the things on my hot list that I can't get, it's hard to get groups to do is, I don't know if you do kid ski between Vassar and Plum. There's kind of like how Audi, before Audi they started building the Audi. There was like this huge berth and there's like fences and there's trashes everywhere. So that's they fixed the Audi because they've made it better. But that's between Vassar and Plum on Kitski, it's bad. And I'm trying to get people to go out there. It's hard because it's a roadway. So, there's that challenge there. So anything that's safe, one of the biggest things too, we have to take into account is the safety. But yeah, those are the 3 things. And so if you had a place in mind, we'll be there, or, I can give you the supplies, kind of however we can work something out there. But yeah, if you just, if you have a place in mind, otherwise I can ask our partners for things like, we work with the Parks Department, Matt Brazina, and the Urban Forester and the horticulturist on different projects. And they always need the help, especially, as we're growing as a city too. So
thank you very much.
At one moment, Victoria had her hand up. Victoria, did you still have a comment? Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
We can't hear you, Victoria.
I had basically the same question, so I got that answer.
Awesome. Anyone from the public have a question or comment? Corey.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Corey Bond for the record. Matt, thank you very much. As we said, I was fortunate enough to be chairman of this group for the last 3 years. We have an adopted spot out here, and we worked with your organization for that time period, and you were always gracious. And so, being former, but I would like to say that we thank you for your organization and cooperation. Also, I will say that I had an opportunity to work with the city, and we cleaned up Manzanita Park, we cleaned up O'Brien Middle School, and we also cleaned up Becca Loader. And we had those spots for people coming with green waste and everything. Ms. Ebert was there as well. And it was a great, all 3 were great, and people were just bent over backwards and they were so happy. And I walked, at O'Brien Middle School, I actually walked the line and people were thanking me left and right. And I said, you know, I can only take so much credit, but I will certainly pass along your comments. But people were just saying, you know, thank you for doing this. You need to do it more often. You know, we would love to get involved and certainly we would be happy to get involved if it means we can do it more frequently.
Yeah, I think
So-
Ward 4 had Silver Lake. Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the, you know, cool thing is it's contagious. You know, we'll go to cleanups and especially if people are wearing the orange vests, it's very noticeable. And so, in fact, I book more cleanups on doing other cleanups than I do, you know, anything else. It's just very tangible impact when you, especially when you see like a park that's like Yory Park, where it's a mess and then all of a sudden you get it cleaned up and the kids can play on it and people can recreate there. So,
Well,
yeah, it's the real.
I will say I was the one always in the yellow vest, outstanding, directing people. And again, I heard nothing but positive comments about it. So thank you.
Yeah, and we couldn't do it without our, you know, City of Reno and our partners too. So we
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Anyone else from the public? Any comment?
Hi, Becky Flannery. This question, do you guys do the river cleanup more than once a year?
Yeah, so we have groups like part of that 168 was people doing the
Or
river.
is throughout the year?
Yeah, they're like Broadhead Park downtown is between Broadhead and John Champion and then behind GSR. And we're actually working with the Clean and Safe team, the City of Reno, as well as their river rangers. We got a grant, the ARPA grant. So that kind of falls on myself too. So we're working with different municipalities. We know that the river, it's a hot button issue.
Yeah, a lot of us don't even go there anymore.
Yeah,
So-
it breaks my heart too. I got, you know,
Yeah, it's heartbreaking
Yeah.
for sure. So like if we could get
Yeah.
more opportunities to get more people down there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's kind of a repetitive cycle of stuff going on down there, but
yeah, it's a challenge, that's for sure.
yeah, for sure. So, do you have dates listed on your website or?
Yeah, so those
other
two
cleanups?
community cleanups were in April and then September. And then if you wanted to set up, and then we're actually gonna do bi-monthly cleanups as well, which will be the first Saturday and the third Saturday of every month, except for April and September while we get ready for the big ones. And then, like I said, if you know, if you have a church group or, you know, business or scouts, we work with a lot of the scouts have been huge too. So yeah, we'll try our best to accommodate you and, you know, I've been here for 5 years and, you know, I've been through a pandemic, you know, I'm from Reno too. So I've seen, you know, how much we've grown and just having a group like KTMB nonprofit is, you know, really benefits the community. And I think it's the best job I've ever had myself. But yeah, I love it.
Thank you. Thank you, Becky. Anyone else? I had a question and it ties to cleanups when we have things that get abandoned. For example, a boat on the side of the road in Silver Lake. It's been reported, but who does pick it up? It's not like, is it when it's on like the side of the road?
Yeah, open space, illegal dumping is also another, you know, big problem. So those usually, so we have the Washoe County has, you know, 359 dump, you can report it there. The actually Washoe County Sheriff's Office app. I recommend everybody download that. You can do graffiti. I mean, it's actually really cool stuff. You can do GPS positioning. I think the way that it works is, you know, of course, everything is, and I'm not saying anything on our partners, you know, like I know that they work hard, but you know, everything is backed up with the resources, they're scarce. So I'd say that the best way that you could enact change would be to just keep doing it. Eventually, I mean, just keep reporting it and making sure that it's still on their radar, letting them make sure they're being held accountable. But yeah, so like the stuff like that, you know, so if you see like, and RVs being dumped up in the, you know, the hills, you know, it's a big deal, tires everywhere. So if you see something like that, we can, we can actually put that as a site for one of our large cleanups. It's hard to do open space cleanups because not everyone can do that. You need OHV, you know, like you gotta get dumpsters. We actually provide dumpsters. That's all free. That's part of the program too. We want to make sure that we fill those dumpsters up so that we want to make sure that we get the commitment for people to do that. I know that Paul McKenzie did a cleanup up in Cold Springs. I think it was April. Yeah. Up by the water treatment up there. But yes, we'll provide all that stuff. If you part of the volunteers, we'll provide everything else.
Great.
But yeah, it's We actually just hired a program director as well too, and he has a specialty in open space cleanups too. So he just started 2 months ago. So he's really hit the ground running on that too. So we're excited.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate this presentation.
Victoria, did you have another question?
I do. Just real quick, if a school, like a group from the school needed service hours for any reason, you guys would sign off on those for them?
Yes, we have a
Okay.
community service form. You know,
Okay.
just put the number of hours and we'll sign off on that. Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Is there anyone else on Zoom that has a question of this good man?
If you'd like to give comments on Zoom, please use the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom window. I don't see any, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Moving on to item B5, we have the opportunity to hear a presentation by Our Story Inc. regarding the history of Black Springs. Invite those to come forward.
Wherever you're comfortable, but if you could get a little closer to the mic, that way the people on Zoom can pick you up. If you'd like, there's a chair right here that you can sit in.
Everybody doing?
Great.
Good afternoon, advisory board. My name is Kent Dalton, and I'm president and founder of Our Story Inc., which I established in 1996 while I was a firefighter with the city of Reno. Our Story Inc., what I've been doing for the past 20 plus years is collecting information and contributions African Americans have made in Northern Nevada. That would, part of that right now is Black Springs area. Probably on your map, it says Grandview Terrace. Up in that area, it was established around 1950 when the residents from Mr. Sweat, who had a ranch up there, started parceling off his property. And so African Americans, where they couldn't buy in the Reno Sparks area, could buy from him. Let me also say that this is in collaboration with Our Story Inc. is in collaboration with the Westbrook Foundation and Helen Townsell, whose parents were the catalyst for what happened up there in the Black Springs area. Basically, what you do right here is what they started doing in 1950, talking to the county and people. They didn't know how to go about doing it, but they got help from the university and other places to learn how to have meetings like this to get sewer, water, and things up in Black Springs area. Let me also, introduce my wife, Demetrius Dalton, back there in the back. She also grew up in that area along with Helen. And I'm introducing her because when I mess up, she'll pick up the slack. Okay, so one of the things that we've done and is we were able to establish that the volunteer fire house up there was built brick by brick by the people in that area. And along with that, the chief, William Lobster, that they elected chief, was actually the first African-American chief for the state of Nevada. So currently we're pursuing that. We took over the building. We created a museum out of it. And so we've been trying to, collect artifacts and different things to show, what happened in that area and what they did as far as trying to protect their homes. And like I said, currently we're trying to get it on the National Register of Historic Places. I could keep going on, but I know you guys are busy and you don't want to look at me. So with that, if there's anything else that I could add or my wife could add.
Kathleen Egan, I just want to thank you for coming. This was something that had asked that we get you to share here because it's so important, even though that parcel is Wasco County, it's in our community. And I lived here for years and knew nothing about the history of it until I was a poll worker at the community center. And I had no idea. My kids weren't taught this in school. My kids were never taught the history of how African Americans were not able to buy property in Reno. I mean, we know the sundown towns outside, but it was right here. And I think it's so incredibly important that our children and our neighbors understand the history. It's not the Deep South, it's right here in our hometown. And so I just want to thank you, and the Westbrook family has done such a wonderful job. My concern is not only general population doesn't know about the history and how this special community, but for going forward, now the new people living here, your sewer, electric, you're in the county. So do you have the services that you currently need, or is there something that we can help with the county, side of it that we could address if your area is missing certain services?
Well, thank you for that question. And sure, I mean, I'm with you. We're all the community. I live out here. I live off of Opal, but Opal is the city and everything around me is the county.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay. So it's basically the same thing. We live here together. We got to work it together. We do things through the city of Reno as far as apply for grants or, ask for help. And then I have an inside scoop. I work for the fire department. So I bug them all the time. So the chief, I knew him when he started. And so they help a lot with what we're doing up there. And we appreciate that. But yeah, I think we're all in this together. And so we try to reach out, I always say, all you can say is no. And we got to move on.
Thank you. Mr. Dalton, my name's Jared Souther, and I want to thank you for your presentation. You mentioned that you've opened a museum there. What are the hours of the museum?
Currently, we have the hours are 11 to 4 when we're open.
11 to 3.
11 to 3. And we're close to the winter, basically.
Appointments only on here in the winter.
Do you have a website yet, or how do you share this?
We have a website. We've had one for a while. It's ourstoryinc.org or .com, correct?
Right. And the museum has a website as well. This is Demetrius Dalton. The museum has a website as well. It's the acronym for Northern Nevada African American Firefighters Museum. So it's NNAAFM.org.
I will also say a lot of, like I said, a lot of the people that I've worked with, Noah Livingston is our coordinator up there for the museum. And then we have other people that I used to work with that are retired and volunteer to help.
Speaking as one that's been in the community for a period of time, and I really appreciate this introduction. I just looked at the map so I could understand Glenview Terrace. And you're being encumbered by a lot of new development, like at Lemon Drive on I would say the south, there's more plans for retail or things like that. So you're still there and you're making efforts to teach, and I really appreciate that. Tyler, thank you for sharing. Anyone else have a comment from the board, including Victoria? Okay.
Hi.
Anyone in the public that would like to make a comment?
Councilmember Ebert, did you have a question?
Sorry, Ms. Megan.
Yeah. Megan, Councilmember Ebert, for the record, I just want to say I've taken my children to this museum. And I'm not sure if it was like a grand opening or what kind of event it was, but they had just a whole bunch of fire trucks there and firefighters. And It was just a great event. It was wonderful to go through the museum and read about the history and see the photographs and just see, what a great community you guys have there and the people that I met there. Everybody was just really warm and very open to sharing stories with me and my family and my children. And it was just a great experience for my whole family. And the fire trucks are always fun, but just the whole experience was wonderful. And I just want to thank you for coming and sharing again, the story and Tyler, thanks for sharing the website up. It's very helpful right now, but if you guys get a chance to go there, really do it. It's really great. It's a great story, about what people can do, so thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I grew up in a village of 900 people back home in Illinois. I was a volunteer firefighter when I was 18, and my oldest daughter's boyfriend is studying to be a firefighter right now, so it's in our blood. So thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. At this time, we're going to move into item B6, which are development projects. And we're going to have presentation B6-1. Prior to doing that, I want to state the following. Following the project's presentation by the project's developer or representative, the NAB members and the public will have an opportunity to ask questions about the project and provide feedback. The Neighborhood Advisory Board will not take any action on development projects. NAB members and the public are encouraged to complete the development project review form with their input. And that is listed on the website. And then the next steps would be to be submitted to the Reno Planning Commission or consideration in the development review process. City of Reno planning staff will be available for questions, but will not provide project presentation. So item B6-1, North Virginia and Webb Industrial. Thank you. Yeah, feel free to move that around so you can see there's a laser pointer on there. There should be, yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening, board members and councilwomen. My name is Veronica, and I'll be presenting North Virginia and Webb Industrial Project. And I also have with me Sean Tubman, who's the civil engineer for the project. So we are requesting approval for a conditional use permit. It's located on North Virginia, and the nearest intersection is Stead Boulevard.
Up here.
Right there. So our request is, the first one would be 24/7 operations on the MS zone parcels.
Excuse me, I couldn't hear you.
The first request is for 24/7 use on the MS zone parcels. It has 4 parcels and 3 of them are zoned mixed use suburban. 1 is zoned as industrial commercial. So we're requesting 24/7 on the MS zone parcels. The industrial commercial already comes with 24/7 use under RMC 18.08.605. The other request is to allow grading to allow for fills over 10 feet on just the northern side of the property. The total acreage is around 9 acres, and we are proposing to construct 2 tilt-up warehouses / flex buildings. So as we just talked, the current zoning of the property is divided into industrial commercial, and 3 parcels have mixed use suburban on it. And the master plan land use designation is industrial for all the parcels. This is the landscape plan. Just a quick rendering of what we're proposing. And this is the film exhibit. As you can see, the over 10 feet fills, it's on the northern side of the property. Mostly, I would say, on the northeast side. These are some of the elevations, two buildings, buildings A and B. This is for building A. And that is for building B. And we've generated a full report on this. It is compliant with the Reno Master Plan, especially with the designation of that entire area as industrial, focusing on industrial and logistic employment area. We are following the development code of the Reno Municipal Code, and there are no material impacts anticipated to any of the surrounding businesses. And it will also provide for a safe environment. We're proposing 6 feet sidewalks on North Virginia. We are open for any questions that you might have on the project.
Is there anyone from the board like to ask a question?
I do, Ben Johnson for the record. Do you know what businesses would be going to those buildings?
Right now, it's a shell building, so the tenant is undecided for now. But yeah.
And are you expecting two different businesses for each building, like one for one building, like site building A and building B with two different businesses, or are you looking for one business for both buildings?
It's a possibility to have more than one tenant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, you said the gentleman here is that Sean Tubman?
Yes.
And I don't know which one of your jobs or to you, but looking at the slide that you had, we got this in advance and I could zoom in closer. And I know Jared, you want to follow up and have some questions about this as well. We're looking at the traffic pattern. You know, we know this area very well, obviously. We live right here and drive it a lot. So there was nothing in this presentation about traffic studies, about the in and out, the easements, you know, left turn only, right turn only. We kind of gained that from looking at that one slide that you had. So that's my only concern. And I know our concerns here is this 24/7 large trucks. Stead is not being improved and it needs to be. We've got a stop sign there. This gentleman knows the business well, you know, with trucks. So that's what I want to know. Where in any of this is explanation of traffic, widening Virginia, in and out?
Great question. Thank you so much. Tyler, would you mind putting the next slide on? Yes, and Sean, did you want to answer that? He's the expert on this.
Sean Tubman for the record. We've had a preliminary traffic generation study completed. We're compliant with driveway spacing and other city standards. This slide shows the proposed access points are two auto accesses on the left and right side of the page. We're looking at it. Those are going to be right in, right out only. The center use for truck access primarily will be a full access left and right, in and out. Preliminary traffic counts suggested that no deceleration lanes were required, and with the phasing of this project, the RTC road improvements are scheduled in the next 2 years, will generate a center left turn lane along North Virginia Street here, which would alleviate any potential left turn concerns.
Question, Ben Johnson for record. So are you saying that the center is your in and out for tractors and trailers for both buildings?
Correct, it's a shared truck court. The two truck courts face each other.
That'll be fun. Okay, thank you.
So Jared Souther, for the record, that would be one thing that I share the concern of easement, and the expansion, looking for the expansion of North Virginia Street. I also look at the community as I zoom out and look at the fact, yes, there is a restaurant / bar next to that property, and then beyond that, there is a trailer court in the background above the storage units. So, and I recognize that Amazon already is granted, they're 24/7 as well. So they're getting used to that, but at the same time, my concern is for being good neighbors. This property was looked at, I think, in last year, that they were gonna do just truck storage itself, and that moved on. And so that would be my concerns, that I might bring forward as I go out of form for the planning commission. Anyone else from the board that has a comment? Then any public comment? I'll start with Corey. That's okay. Ladies first, of course. Go ahead.
I think you're right.
Okay. Corey Bond, for the record. I drive this lane every single day. And my comments are basically piggybacking with Chairman Souther and Vice Chair Egan said. We all know, honestly, you guys know me, I don't usually badmouth the city, but I will say this. We all know the planning commission get the final say. I mean, respectfully, they do. And it can't support it. The way it is right now, it cannot support it because you have big rigs going down to access the interstate. And it just cannot support it the way it is currently. I mean, we said it just a minute ago. Yes, RTC has plans, but they're 2 years out. And, you know, and I agree. You guys know me, I usually play devil's advocate because I know how things go. I think it's, with all due respect, I think it's a bad idea because that's a 2-lane road and you've got constant traffic and you've got big rigs stopping in the middle because, oh my gosh, they missed their turn. So now they're going to stop in the middle of the road and try to turn around. And it's just a bad idea, I think. But that's my comment. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Hi, Becky Flannery. I'm legally agreeing with Corey.
Thank you.
Do you guys live here? Okay, because you guys know how the traffic already is. And there's constant car wrecks. In that area, they have school buses. How are the school buses getting in and out with all these warehouses and all your semis and this? Yay, we're gonna plant some trees, but we're not widening Virginia. What is this gonna impact us more? Because the other day there was a wreck on Audie and it took me an hour and a half to get to Moana to work. I'm very fed up with the semis and the traffic and the wrecks. So is all of us valleys. Plus that, there's homes over there, there's residentials. They shouldn't have to hear this all night long. That is not fair. So I need to know, like, who runs the planning commission? Because who would even make it okay to even do this out here? There should be like a designated area outside of town or something. We do not have the infrastructure anymore. You can't go down Virginia when 395 is a mess anymore. Literally, there's nowhere to get out of here. And I work in healthcare. I take care of patients. This is not conducive to our area. I say no. I think all the North Valley would agree that this is a horrible idea and no more warehouses should be built out here, especially in people's backyards. Thank you, sorry.
Yes, please.
Mike Stevens for the record. What about your water runoff?
Yeah.
You got that in planning.
Yeah, Sean Tubman. So this plan shows We have underground retention planned on this one. There are the dash lines in between the two buildings and to the right side of the right building. There's also a surface pond on the bottom over there. It'll meet all city regulations of retaining 130% of the difference between existing condition and proposed condition runoff, as well as mitigating peak flow.
Great question. Thank you. Is there any other, yes, ma'am, please.
Elisa Vincent for the record, and I live in very close to that area and travel, whether it's the freeway or North Virginia, depending on the day, on which avenue I'm gonna take on the traffic, and I go to work at a kind of an odd hour in the morning, just for that reason. And the semis coming in and out already, once you're on North Virginia, you now stop for 8 semis to get out on the road in one, from one warehouse. And now your traffic's backed up that much more. And if you're, looking for something right on this corner, and as you say, 2 years out, I'm gonna tell you, 2 years is gonna equal then to about 5 years, for anything that the city's gonna do in that area. So what is the plan for that? You can say it's gonna be 2 years, but in all reality, is it gonna be 2 years for them to widen that road and to get some more safety features in that area?
Thank you.
Councilmember Ebert, just for the record, I do want to say that they are going to start widening North Virginia, just so that you know. I'm not saying I'm for or against this project, but just objectively, they are going to start widening Virginia Street. That is an RTC project, not City of Reno. It's also separate from NDOT, which is widening the 395. So I just want to, kind of call out who's doing what. So RTC is trying to coordinate what they're doing with NDOT so that we're not getting squeezed from everywhere at once. So they're waiting for phase 1 to end on the widening of 395, and then they'll start on the widening of North Virginia Street. So we have a timeline for when Virginia Street's going to get widened, but the reality is it might move a little bit just based off of when the 395 gets completed, because they're not going to start on that until phase 1 of the 395 is done. At least that's what the plan is right now. So just to let you know about that, that's, completely separate from this project, but, and I can't remember the timing. I think they're saying, do you know when the timeline is, the dates for that?
Carter Williams, assistant planner for the record. I think that they are planning 2027.
That's what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
2027 for the widening of Virginia Street, which I know that's a long ways off. We'd like it all to be done tomorrow, but there just is a lot of moving pieces, and unfortunately, they've waited a really long time to work on this infrastructure, and we have so many people out here already. But at least it's on the horizon. And again, we have to wait until NDOT does its thing. Otherwise, we're just gonna be, squished in here with traffic or construction everywhere. So, pardon.
Carter Williams again, assistant planner for the record. But along with this, this project, because it is within the design phase of the widening, RTC is reviewing the plans that were submitted and may provide recommended conditions where the developer may have to implement ahead of the widening if it's necessary.
Okay.
And we have been doing that on a number of projects in the Valley to implement, so that we're working in line with RTC's design, but then also providing kind of a cost of growth.
Okay.
For these developments out here.
Thank you, Carter. And then I had a question for the applicant. So you said this area is already designated industrial. Is that in conformance with the master plan currently? Okay, so I know there's comments about warehouses, and I agree. Nobody wants to see more warehouses, especially, where we drive a lot, but we do have a master plan, and these areas are designated currently for industrial, commercial, whatever the use may be. We have a master plan in place that is available, on the City of Reno's website to see. Is there a reason why we would want to change this to 24/7 hours of operation, especially considering we don't know what type of use we would need to, or people would want to have there? I mean, you're going to the most liberal use of the space without knowing what would be in there.
So I think the character of the area is geared towards 24/7. And although the tenants are not selected yet, this is an important factor for any kind of logistical warehouse business. Sean, do you have something additional to add on to that?
No, I would just say the specific request we have here is for the 3 parcels that aren't zoned industrial currently. So one parcel is already zoned by right for 24.
Okay, so one is currently, and the other 2 are they in?
Remaining 3 are MS, mixed use.
Okay, so one is industrial commercial?
Correct.
And the other 3 are mixed use suburban, you said? Okay. So, all right, so what are the surrounding parcels? What are they currently at?
Would you go back to the?
Yeah.
So we have industrial all around, and then the red hatched, where I believe it's the bar and the restaurant. That is a mixed use suburban on the left side.
Okay.
That's yes.
So there's not currently a location that's operating 24/7 in this general area.
All the ones around are 24/7.
There are currently 24/7.
Yes.
Okay.
And to the north, we have, I believe, Amazon's delivery station. And to the south, we have On-Tracks warehouses. I think both those buildings are On-Tracks.
Okay.
Logistical.
Can you point out to me again, I'm sorry, which parcel is already industrial commercials? That one?
Yes.
Okay.
I saw a hand on Zoom. Victoria, did you have your question answered?
I did. I just had another little question for Councilwoman Ebert. If anybody knew how far down North Virginia would be widened, what are the boundaries of the widening?
The first widening is gonna go to Stead Boulevard, is that correct?
I don't know the phasing, unfortunately.
I believe the first. Wait, there's 2 different phases. I might, you know what, I don't want to say the wrong thing, so if I can get back to you on that. But there is one phase that's going to Stead, and another phase I believe is going to Red Rock. But I don't know the specific timing, so let me get that information to you.
Okay, thank you. And then yes, Ms. Egan, thank you.
This is directed to the city planner. Kathleen Egan, the record. One thing that we have, every single project that comes through here, every single one, when we talk about the water drainage issue, and you're taking raw land and you're putting asphalt, is that the planner, not your fault, they're going exactly what the city's regulation is. Now, the city from Demonte Ranch to North Valleys, you've got marshlands, you've got all sorts of land everywhere. And so the next time it is raining, or we have a really good snow melt off, you bring your other staff and you drive on North Virginia, because what you're going to see is flooding across, because the retention ponds that were to city code are overflowed. Literally, you're driving through a puddle. So that's what we need to make you guys understand, is that when you're looking at these projects in these specific areas, there are unique situations. And I think I should have taken, no, I did take pictures last year. That's the only way that we can let you know that what works maybe in a different type of area, territory, doesn't work out here, because we're 500 feet up, we get twice as much snow, we get twice as much rain. So that's the problem we have in North Virginia right now, and it's already ruining the new pavement. We have, what's it called? Crocodile potholes, huge potholes, crocodiles on brand new asphalt that was put in last year, because it's constant, the water, and it's draining because it's the hill. The retention pond on this side flows all the way across the intersection, and you have the trucks, the poor trucks going through, and then us little cars. So that's the only thing I wanted, somehow, somehow you planners have got to take that into effect when you say, well, it's what the city says. Well, maybe in North Valleys, the city might need to say, let's show you the pictures and what's happening. Go to Chewy, go up and down the road and just take a look. That we got some real drainage issues out here.
If I can respond.
Please, thank you so
So,
much.
in the North Valleys, we actually do have some special regulations that aren't broadly applicable to the city. Whenever development is proposed up in the North Valleys, recognizing this closed basin, recognizing the issues that already exist, that the 130% mitigation that you represented, that includes this, what's being created on the site, and then 30% of other flows. So when you do development in North Valleys, you're actually taking a share of the existing problem and we're slowly mitigating it as development continues. So our engineers are aware of that. I think that there's also situations that I've observed. I actually live up in North Valleys. I've observed where new retention and detention basins have failed, and a lot of the time it has to do with maintenance of those detention basins. So in coordination with the engineering division and community development services and the new utility services department, they are doing inspections of those. That's a new program that we're doing. We're going out and inspecting these detention basins and analyzing whether or not they're one, that they failed. Are they working how they were supposed to? And then providing working with the property owners to mitigate those issues.
Thank you. Thank you.
Victoria, I see your hand, but I also want to make a quick comment. One thing that I thought about is that the cohesiveness of adding this project to the neighborhood with Amazon. I don't see the connectivity with the parking lot with Amazon on the north, at least on the top part of the slide there. And I'm trying to think if we were to move the traffic flow in a different circular pattern into the back side of the lot instead of coming to the front, then it would be having a better traffic flow within that project. I like how the trucks bays are centered in and not out, but I'm trying to see if there could be cohesiveness in using the existing truck entrances from Amazon to then tie into your project here. Just wanted to share that. I know that might not work, but at least.
Good idea.
Victoria, please put the time over to you.
Just on the comment prior to you with retention and detention ponds being looked at and inspected, if Tyler or somebody could make a note of finding out if there would be any way to submit complaints or take in anything like that when those start rolling.
At a direct,
Reno
Direct?
Yeah.
Reno Direct would be it. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
Councilman Hubert, for the record, Victoria, I just want to let you know, Jana looked up for me real quick that phase 1 of the widening of Virginia Street is going to Stead first. And then once that's completed, the next will be to Red Rock. And
okay,
so that's
gotcha.
Kind of timed in conjunction with the widening of the 395. So I can't give you set dates on that, but just phase 1 will go to Stead.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, help.
Any other comments at this time? Yes, ma'am, please.
Record. And when you're saying widening it, are you, you said that there will be an egress for, merge lane, I guess. And when you're saying widening it, is there gonna be 2 lanes, 4 lanes? What is it like widening it?
They're gonna widen it to 2 lanes, and I don't know what kind of merging they're going to have, but it's gonna be 2 lanes each way. And I think Carter had mentioned that they are still kind of reviewing some things. I know that they're still looking at some stuff, and there are some things going on with the on-ramp and off-ramp situation with the 395, where you come on at Panther Valley and you can exit at Golden Valley. And DOT currently has plans to take away that access to exit at Golden Valley. So I'm in a struggle right now with them to keep that access so you can exit Golden Valley there. So there's some stuff that is still kind of changing. It's I can't give you a
Do
sense
we
of
have
the
that
answer.
for a future agenda item?
They were
Maybe
here,
that's-
was it in November? They came and gave a presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I could get them to try and get them to come back.
We can
It's Pretty
definitely,
hard to get them to come, but
we can put in the request. It is harder to get them to come, but you can also review the meeting on the City of Reno's YouTube page. You can see their presentation. You just have to Google City of Reno YouTube and you can find the November Ward 4 Neighborhood Advisory Board meeting. And then, of course, if you have specific questions, you're welcome to email them to me. My email's shawt@reno.gov, and I have cards that I can give out, and then I can forward those questions to the agency and see if we can get some answers.
and I'm trying to see if there's, sorry, Councilmember Ebert for the record. I'm trying to see if we can have more dialogue with NDOT to give more community feedback. Because you know, again, we all know it, that we live here, we drive this, we know what's happening here, and they're relying on models and, you know, different types of traffic studies and things like that. And I think they have good intentions, but they really need to hear more from the people that live here. And a lot of times for us, because we're working or, you know, just can't be at meetings during the day and things like that, we sometimes don't know what the full plan is until it's already happened. So I'll see if I can get us another opportunity for the community to give them more feedback, you know, before the project's completed. But they do know that I'm not happy with the current design of that interchange there. And also the city engineers are not happy with it. And so they're trying to put pressure on them as well. So some of these changes, you know, are still changing. So I can't give you a definitive answer on what the widening of Virginia or the 395 is gonna look like, unfortunately.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add really quickly, if you go to the RTC website, you just Google Regional Transportation Commission or just RTC Reno. There's a tab up at the top that says construction projects. If you click that, and then you look, I think it's not in the top phase, but it's the planned ones. There's the title of the project is North Valley's North Virginia Street Capacity. And that actually has some of the project details. It has the project manager's name, phone number, email, and that's directly through RTC. So this will probably be the easiest source of information. Yeah, if you scroll down, those are no, not that one.
Oh, is there more?
Yeah. So it says active at the top. It's under upcoming. And then if you go to see more at the bottom, you can find right down there to the left, down. There you go. Yeah. So any project, RTC project that you want to know more about, you can check out their webpage and it'll have all the contact information. Because we can, you know, if you send us stuff or through Reno Direct, we're going to have to route you to them anyway, since it's not a City of Reno project.
This has been some great conversations. Is there anything else that needs to be commented about this particular project before we move on?
Kind of. So as far as, sorry, Betty Glenn, Ms. Ebert over here was saying the whole master planning. Are we just gonna keep getting warehouses or do we actually, like my property taxes, I'm sure everybody's just jumped up dramatically and all I've gotten is HOA houses. Like our shopping's running low, the shelves are always low at like Smith's, Walmart. Like, are we just a warehouse community or do we actually start getting some things out here? So we don't have to go all the way to town for an hour and a half in town, you know, like what is the plan other than warehousing us out?
Okay,
of our homes?
that was a great question and we'll allow you to have that answer in a few moments in our next section under public comment.
Okay.
At this time, I'd like to thank you for your presentation. And at this point in time, Becky, we will get back to you.
Thank you, sir.
So agenda item C, board, commission, committee member reports and announcements. Anything that members of the board would like to bring forward for a report or announcement? Yes, like to, Ms. Egan?
Kathleen, I think I'm gonna just do it every single time. The people that show up, we need more members. So if you can't be here every time, but if you'd like to come and have more of a say and find out more things behind the scenes, join or get your neighbors to join. Go on North Valley's community page, go on Facebook, go on Next Door Neighbor. We need more people here than just complaining in the bar. And then, by the way, that's my bar. That's my bar right next to that's my bar. And the owner's never gonna sell. So that's my bar. Cash only. And cheap, $2.75 for PBRs, I gotta tell you. Cheap whiskey too. So that's my biker bar. But we need more people. We have 6 more openings to be here. Sometimes with people get sick and we don't have quorum, you know, baby's sick, it's the snow, we can't get here. And sometimes we had standing room only, you know, we'd have 50 people here. We know they come because they're upset about a certain issue and they can't come every month. But you gotta know somebody. You gotta know somebody because we don't have more input to get the communication out, to spread out. When next door neighbor on Facebook, they put a post and they're totally wrong about something, or they say, we never even heard about it. Well, guess what? You would have heard about it if you had come to a meeting and get the correct information instead of we have so much misinformation out there. And the city staff has been wonderful for additional questions that we ask behind the scenes. Man, who do I reach out to? I get answers. And, you know, and I put in complaints all the time, not complaints, but direct, you know, I put in my reports all the time. And the city has been very, very responsive, but we need more.
Thank you.
Our neighbors. We need our neighbors to speak up in the right areas, not just after church. You know, they need to be speaking more.
Tyler Shaw, Community Liaison to the record. To Vice Chair Egan's point, there is a stack of applications for the Neighborhood Advisory Board, blank applications over there on the table. If you're interested, grab one on your way out and you can email it to our city clerk or me or someone at the city and we'll get it to the right place.
Thank you. Awesome. But best luck. Your time is yours.
I just want to apologize, well, more of announcement, apology mix for my absence for the past few months here. I'm expecting, so things have just kind of gotten a little bit busy around here. Thank you. But I due in April, so we're getting to the end, but I plan on being back into my involvement on the board. So
Thank you for being here tonight. You've been a big part of the meeting. So
Yeah,
thank
we
you.
missed you.
Yeah.
Kathleen.
miss you guys too. Hopefully to
All
see
right.
you guys next month in person.
Okay. Yes. All the best. John, Benjamin, anything that you'd like to bring?
I have nothing.
Okay. John's been very quiet tonight. We're glad you're here.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
May I quickly, Jana Moyer, Community Liaison for the record. I just wanted to add, speaking with Mr. Dalton as they left, there was a documentary recently made called A Black Springs Homecoming, in partnership with Nevada Humanities. And it's going to be playing on PBS on February 6th and February 9th. If you go to the Nevada Humanities website, you can find the information about it. And February 9th, PBS will be hosting an in-person watch party at their community room. It's totally free. You just go onto I don't know if it was on the PBS website. I think it was on Nevada Humanities. You could register to go and be part of that watch party in person. So if you're interested in learning more about the presentation we heard this evening, you can either check it out on PBS or go and watch it in person.
Great, thank you. I love that. Moving forward to item D, future agenda items. We've heard and appreciate that feedback that we want to hear more from NDOT and RTC and would anticipate that in the next few months that we would have that opportunity. Anyone else, any other future agenda items to be discussed?
Kathleen Egan, a planned cleanup.
Okay.
Like
Great.
Silver Lake Park or
Great.
Lemon Valley, wherever, but
Okay.
we usually plan those a few months in advance that we put it on, you know, for August or whatever. So this is probably the good timing for the year to, you know,
All right.
maybe you guys get back to us.
Well,
So-
we've got the calendar in front of us here. Let's talk. Are we thinking towards April or May? The Keep Trucking Meadows Beautiful is a May event.
Well, that was April.
April 27th, yeah.
Mr. Chair, we'll probably need to agendize this as an agenda item on a future agenda. That way we're on track on our agenda and the public has a chance to provide input if they want.
Okay, great.
But noted, and we'll make sure it gets on a future agenda. It's a great
Thank you.
idea.
Appreciate it. Very good. Anyone else?
I do not at this time.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, and then at this point in time, we move into public comment And each person that would like to give public comment would be allowed a limit of no more than 3 minutes for each commenter. And so, Becky, I know you had a chance to just about, but now an opportunity for us to maybe as a board to talk that through. Again, we live in a very beautiful and amazing community. And what I would say is that there are times where weather impacts just-in-time delivery, like Smith's and Walmart. I've experienced that, you know, we have all experienced that over the last several years. But as Councilman Ms. Megan has shared, we have the opportunities to voice our opinions about what zoning is doing for us and what it's not doing for us. And so I appreciate your input there as far as, you know, we had a chance last year to talk about the public parks improvements. We've seen Sky Vista improved. Now they're moving on towards Bucks Drive and North Hills, improving that intersection. We know that there's more restaurants coming to the Sky Vista area in the next 12 to 18 months. There are plans to build more services and resources. And we're seeing on that Lemon Drive interchange, they're adding to that pad. And so we're going to see additional development happen there. Yes, we're going to see more houses, more condos, more apartments in our community. But I think we're moving in the right direction. It happens fast, but we've been told by the Economic Development of Western Nevada that by 2030, we're going to be out of developable land in certain areas of Washoe County. So we all have a chance to speak up and make sure that we are doing it in a right manner.
And just to add to that, Kathleen Egan, so years ago, they redo the master plan in cycles. And it takes a long time. So I was part of that when we were redoing that. Because I was on the cab. I don't know if I was on the cab or the NAB at that point. I switched back and forth. But there's a lot of talk, and there was a very huge push to make the west side to be housing. They wanted to put housing because they wanted more houses. They knew that there was the thing. We actually fought to keep it more industrial on that side because we were worried about traffic, of course, worried about housing up apartment complexes up Peabine and the fires coming down. And the last thing we wanted to do was driving home. We already had housing on the right, mostly, not much on the left, to all of a sudden be driving and seeing apartment complexes and housing all the way up the hill, like you see, you know, Somerset and different places. So we actually, since we already had an industrial base there and we had existing industrial businesses, we are as local people at that point in time, and this was 10 years ago we started. I mean, we're talking about years of meetings, right? It seemed like forever. Our local neighbors at that time fought really hard to not have housing up the hill and to have that area set as, okay, you're going to have industrial. Great. Maybe if we get industrial there, maybe they'll eventually widen Virginia. And this is like literally 10 years ago or 5 years ago. I don't even know how many. So anyway, so just to let you know, there was input at that time and now things have changed. And I don't know if I'd push for that again or not.
At Red Rock, there is still like 600 acres that has still not been purchased at the Red Rock above the Sierra Zoo. There's several pads that are now approved for warehouses there above the zoo that went last year. But then above that, above the railroad tracks, there is still developable land that Kidder Matthews has got on real estate listings for, and it could be residential still. But to your point, we want to keep our community safe and beautiful.
Or zoo right there.
Yeah.
How are they gonna deal with these warehouse noises all night long, our poor animals? Like, and what if they wanna expend one day, because our zoo is kind of tiny.
So the zoo itself was here at the meetings, and they also went to the planning commission meeting, I'm sure. And they voiced some concerns, but there's buffers and things, and so they were heard. I know I've spoken quite a bit here. There's a sort of an interruption of the conversation. Is there anything Megan, that you wanted to speak
Yeah.
towards or feedback?
Yeah, Councilmember Eber, for the record, I just wanted to say, you know, to Kathleen's points about the master plan, that was completed in, 2017. So it's a few years old. It's not, you know, 50 years old, but it's a few years old. These areas that are in conformance with the master plan and have been zoned a specific way, it's really difficult, to change it. So if somebody buys a parcel of land and it's already zoned a certain way, they're allowed to develop it by right. So there's not a lot I can do to say, no, you can't do that, right? Like, I'm not a dictator. I'm one council member in a city with 7 votes on the council, right? And 1 of 7. So there's not a lot I can do about that. The other thing is, of course, I want to have shopping and restaurants and commercial development. And I have met with developers to ask them, you know, what could we do to bring in restaurants and shopping and things like that? And the reality is, we have to have the population to support these things. So as much as nobody wants to see more housing and apartments and things like that, until we have the people here to support these restaurants and things like that, they're not going to come here. No restaurant's going to come here to go out of business. So as these housing projects and apartments and developments and things like that get completed, the more desirable we are for those kinds of developments. And we are having some more restaurants. I believe it's Dutch Brothers and Chipotle are going to be going in. Yeah, Panda right behind Smith's.
I would support Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah.
Just my
Yeah.
family alone.
Exactly. And we're pretty much gonna have like every single fast food place in the world. up
How about
here,
an
which
Olive
I
Garden?
would like to have, yeah, right. I'm trying to get a restaurant that's not fast food. We desperately need something like that. And believe me, I am meeting with people. But it's really difficult. The thing that really breaks my heart is when we have a council meeting and we have a request coming through to change the zoning from something else to industrial commercial with 24-hour, you know, hours of operation. And that has happened. And it's happened in our ward since I've been on the council, and I've been outvoted by other council members. And that's so upsetting to me because it was against a residential neighborhood. And I just think that's so just wrong for the people that live there. I don't think it's good planning. It's hard enough when it's in the master plan and I can't change it. But it's really especially upsetting to me when we deviate from the master plan to do something like that. So just know that those things are really important to me too. I am meeting with these developers. I don't have a magic wand to fix these things, but I am really, you know, advocating for these things too, because I don't like only having fast food places to take my kids. You know, I would like to have a nice place to take my mom on Mother's Day, you know, just basic stuff that I think that the rest of the city of Reno takes for granted, you know. And it's like, we have Walmart, that's fine. But like, if I want to buy a nice church outfit for my kids, I'm driving way down into Reno, you know. It's like, I have fantasies about having a Target and a Trader Joe's up here. You know, those are the things that I would really like to see up here, and an Olive Garden and a yard house. And like, those are the things that I'm talking to developers about, you know, and those are the things that when we get people from the community to come to the NABs and to join the NABs and get that feedback, those things really help me. And if you guys can come to the council meetings too and support me, because we're on the same page, like we get it. It's just the rest of the council doesn't live here and they don't. And I think they mean well, but they don't know, you know, so.
You go to the county commission, if you don't like something, go to the county commission.
Where is this? I don't even know who these people
It's
are.
on the city, you know, and there's a meeting like they do here. And then after that, it'll go to the city council. So you want to go to all those
So do
meetings.
they actually listen to us?
Yes, you do have public comment.
Yeah.
And the more people there that bring up stuff, and then you'll learn a lot of stuff, why, like what she just said, it doesn't change it.
Yeah, so I hear you. I'm out there too, and
I know.
it is very frustrating, believe me, because, you know, I'm first-time council member. Like, I got in this because I was frustrated too, and now it's here. It's like, I wish I could just snap my fingers and change these things.
Yep.
It's just impossible.
One vote.
Yep. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the feedback. Is there anyone else that needs to make a comment, public comment tonight? No? Anyone on Zoom? Wow, I've been, yes.
Big Party, do you have a public comment?
It's more in reply to what Megan was just talking about. Previously, I just remember Bonnie was really adamant on asking for the help and the representation when she felt something strongly on things. Not that I agreed on everything that she wanted to push, but hearing what you have to say, I want to encourage you to reach out to us as board members as well, and some advance notification if you need more support in those meetings so that your voice doesn't get dwindled out from the other ones. I personally feel like you have the right to ask us to come and present ourselves in person to
Thank
give you
you.
that support.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Next time, if we don't know in advance, an agenda item will be buried under, and I try to look at all the stuff, and sometimes I don't know exactly what exactly they're talking about, and you get more through the packets.
Yeah.
So if you need, put out the word, because you tell us,
All right.
you know,
All right.
It's
Thank you.
we're got a lot of talkers here.
Thank you very
guys.
much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to give closing public
Oh,
comment?
wait,
Oh,
I have one more thing. I'm so sorry. I know everyone wants to go. Corey's timing us. I know. Here, got into his pants. So real quick, we have a banner, a call for artists. So we're doing the construction project that's finishing up over with Sky Vista. Where the traffic circle is. They're going to be putting in banners, artwork. So there's a call for art. So if you guys want to submit artwork, do so. And then once that submission window has closed, I'm going to be bringing in the art that was submitted to the NAB to get feedback from the community and the board members to select the art. And I'm going to use discretionary funds to print out the artwork and put banners up to just kind of make our area prettier. Just remind everybody, hey, we're part of Reno. We want to look nice too.
Is there a link, or how do my artist friends in the community reach out a lot? What do I?
We can share the link in the follow-up after the.
Or I search the city, if I search this.
Yeah, if you go to City of Reno Arts and Culture page, it'll say call for artists. And then when you go there, there's actually like 3 or 4 different calls out right now. This one is a bit unique because you don't, they're not asking for qualifications or anything like that. You don't have to be an artist. It's just anyone can submit a design. We shared the link with North Valley's High School, TMCC High School, and TMCC as well, since they're sort of like the, higher schools in the area. So that students can submit artwork, and then it will be printed on the banners. There's a $500 artist fee that will be paid out for selected designs as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's been a great agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion for adjournment for this evening's meeting.
John White, second.
First motion.
I motion that we move to agenda.
All right.
I second.
Johnson, for the record, thank you very
Yes.
much. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much, everyone.